Okay, guys, I'm going to do a logo, cursive logo redesign for Daddy D's Southern Style Barbecue. So I just downloaded a new font here. Let's go ahead and write Daddy. Got a new font called Smoothie. Okay. I'm going to click on this and make it the same size, but then I'm going to enlarge it just a bit. And I don't think I'm going to have them touch. I'm going to move it down just like so. Give it a little bit more balance. Copy and paste that, bring this over. Yeah, like that. And I'm going to come up here and do an S. I don't know why that stuff's showing up there on the screen. And I'm going to come in here and do a apostrophe. Alright. Create outlines out of that. I'm going to enlarge that just a little bit, make it look kind of juicy. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm also going to go and create these into outlines. I'm going to get rid of this little piece here. Let's zoom in and take a good look at it. This little extra piece up there. And then I'm going to connect these. Create that as one layer. I'm going to see what it looks like here. I'm going to give it a little bit of a stroke and fatten that up a little bit. Make sure all my edges look good. That looks nice. So I'm going to go Object, Expand, Fill in Stroke, OK. And then I'm going to go Make again. And that should close us off here. Now I'm going to go ahead and create another little curvature in this little thing here. So I did like having that. Make that white. It's a little off. Tap it over with my arrow keys just a little bit. We want to make sure that this angle stays, true with that. So I'm going to adjust your nodes just a little bit till you get it the way that you like. Yeah, that looks good. So then I'm going to select that, take my shape builder, hold down Alt to delete that section. Then just go through and see if there's any curves or anything that you like or don't like and want to get rid of. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of some of these anchors here. Actually, I don't like that, so play around with it whichever way that you like. Okay, so that's looking good for me there. Sometimes I might check something out like this. Let's see if I like it connected there or not. And you can get creative all you want. I don't even know if this is going to look good, but you know. Yeah, that looks stupid. So go ahead and get rid of that. And I think I am going to keep this. So I'm going to go ahead and make that into a path on one group. And zoom back out here. Alright, great. So now I've got the Daddy D's part. And what I'm going to write is Southern style and then barbecue. So I'm going to create an ellipse. Hold down Shift to keep your circle. I'm going to center this. Come up here and take away the fill color. So all we have is the outline. Now you can't see anything unless you click on it. You can go in here if you need a guide. You can click a color. But all you need to do is go into the type area, type on a path. You find the anchor right there in the center. Make sure you've got it click to center. I forgot. I had a really cool font earlier for this. There was another font that had some spurs on it that looked really good. Should have wrote it down. Okay, yeah, it was after this somewhere. There it is. Bohem Press, that's the one that I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to bring my font size down to something a little bit more manageable. And we're going to write Southern style. Now I'm going to click on my arrow tool. And then once you get this little arrow cursor that allows you to move, I need to grab the other one. down here. And then we're just going to bring it up to the center, lock it there. And then we're going to take our type tool, Southern Style. Now I'm going to highlight this, go to my characters, and I'm going to change this to change the letter spacing to about 300. And let's go up to 48. Let's try that. Alright, so we got Southern Style. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control C, Control F. Barbecue. Now I'm going to change this letter spacing. About 600. And the thing that you got to watch is, you notice that this is on the outside of the square, or the circle, and this is on the inside. So, what you'll want to do on this barbecue is enlarge it outside of, so that this line here lines up at the top of that style. So let's just move it just a little bit bigger. That looks good. This one we're going to make sure it's centered as well. Cool, so now we've got Southern Style Barbecue. I'm going to go Object Group, so now those are locked together. So now we can take our Daddy D's in here. We can place it just like that if we wanted to. I'm going to hold down Shift and enlarge it. And then I'm going to come over here to the Shear tool. Right click and make sure you're on Shear. I'm going to grab it from here, I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to hold Shift. Alright. So now obviously we've gone over our text, but we're going to grab this layer that we've grouped, and I'm just going to rotate it till we get it. Now I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to rotate our barbecue back. What I'm doing is I'm keeping the spacing between here and here somewhat even. Nice, that looks good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and Control C, Control F, make another copy of that. I'm going to go Type, Create Outlines, Object Group. Now I'm just doing that so I can save this as a version later. This might be like my simplistic version. Now we're going to go add some different things to this. Now we can always adjust our artboard when we're all finished here, but let's keep doing this. Let's make it bigger. So I'm going to hold down Shift to keep the square. And then I'm going to select all of this. Center it all. Ungroup it. Okay, now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make some circles. And we want it to fill up that Southern Style Barbecue. Let's go ahead and make it like a light color so we can see what's going on here. Put that in the center. Right click, Arrange, Send to Back. So there we go. We've got a nice little circle laid in here. Now there's a couple ways you can do this too. You could come in here and remove the fill, change it to a stroke, and start expanding it like this. That's one way. Another way is you could change the stroke and make it an inner stroke. And then what's cool about that is you can start expanding it until it goes past your letters. which we're going to do. I like that, so we're going to go Object, Expand Appearance. Cool, so now we've got a, let's go ahead and save this real quick. Alright, so I want to make sure I got my fonts grouped here. Object Group, Southern Style Barbecue. That's looking nice. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this layer gray. I'm going to Control C, Control F, and paste another layer. And now what I've done is a Google search here, and I just typed in vintage texture halftones. Just search around and find one that you like. I'll show you how to use these halftones. The bigger the better. So I'm going to go over here, Tools, Size, Large. See if I can get something a little bit bigger. Now you don't want anything here that's got a watermark or anything like that. That's going to look like crap. This looks good, so I'm going to copy this image, bring it back into Illustrator here. Now I'm selected on my gray layer, which is on top of a different gray layer. I'm going to come in here to my transparency. I'm going to change this over here and say Make Opacity Mask. Now it's got the gray selected, but I'm going to click in this black box, and now all I got to do is Control V. I don't know what's going on here, why it's not showing up. Could be I had the wrong thing selected. Make this dark. See what happens. So make opacity mask. Slip on this layer, Control F. There we go. So now I can bring in that grunge texture. I can invert the mask to be lighter there. Now, you can see as if I scrunch this down, those noises are going to get a little bit more condensed. So I don't really like that particular halftone. So let's see what else we can find. And there's a lot of resources where you can download free halftones all over the web. Matter of fact, since we're doing this tutorial anyway, let's just go ahead and do it. Free vintage halftones. There's a halftone pack, so we'll go to Google Drive. I'm just going to save it where I like to save my downloads. Let's go ahead and extract that. open up our halftone pack here in Photoshop, see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to remove the background. Actually, let's make the background white. I'm going to save as a PDF. Bring it back into Daddy D's. Sounds good. All right, let's go back into our Illustrator. Now I'm going to place this first. There we go. That looks pretty good. I like that. So now you can adjust your layer here, which is your halftone, or you can select on this, and then once you go over to this, now you can see that we can change up our colors. If we wanted to make it red, white. I think I might go with white. And then Control-C, Control-F, make a duplicate of that. I'm going to release this clipping mask, get rid of it. Now I'm going to take this white layer, I'm going to make it red. And now, while I'm on that layer, I'm going to hold down Control and then the left square bracket. Yeah, that looks good. So, but in this instance, I'm actually not going to have that be red, so I'm going to make it black. I'm going to change our text over here to white. And so they're Southern style barbecue. What I'm going to do is do Louisiana State. Now normally I would download an actual vector of this to get a high resolution, but I actually want something a little bit less res, something like one of these here. Reason being is I don't need all the tiny edged details at the end. It's more of a representation. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this in here, Control V. So copy and paste that in there. I'm going to go Image Trace, and then expand it, click off to the side, and then click in here in the white and delete. And then delete this white. So now I've got a representation of Louisiana. Now obviously it's not all the details, but it makes it easier to work with this type of design. I'm going to go ahead and place this, hold down Shift to keep the aspect ratio. Yeah, I like that balance. I'm going to make that red for the time being. Arrange, send it to the back. Cool, so now we've got the makings of our ooh, that's looking nicer. Much better. Okay, so let's do the same thing now. the state. I'm going to go ahead and place again. I'm going to place that halftone. Make sure you get the mask covering the whole state. Make sure you hold down Shift when you're expanding your background layer or your halftone, just because it'll change your aspect ratios and could jam up the way that your artwork looks. Cool, so I'm going to go back over here again. Then I'm going to go Control-C, Control-F, release that clipping mask, and get rid of that halftone. Grab that red again. I'm going to right-click and send it to the back. And then now, I'm going to come in here and I'm either going to darken or lighten my red. So I'm going to darken it. And then see how that's bringing the halftones out? So I'm going to darken it just a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. Gives me a nice texture. Cool. Let's go ahead and file and save so we don't lose our artwork. I've done that too many times. Okay, so now this still isn't popping off the way we want it to all the way yet. So we're going to make some adjustments to the Daddy D's. But let's start with let's go Control-C, Control-F. So I just made another copy of this. I'm going to go Object, Path, Offset Path. Let's see what 10 points looks like. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe 15. Yeah, I like that better. Hit OK. Make that as a path. Something got screwed up. Okay, yeah, then we need to select that and that. That was what's going on. And this one. Object Group. Let's go ahead and make those as a path. Let's make one of these white just so it's easier to see what we're working with. Alright, so this one I'm going to go, let's just go ahead and put a stroke on it. See how big we want it to get. And that's where we were earlier with 15. I think that might be better. 23, okay, Object, Expand. Now I'm going to make that. And then we'll bring our font down here and see how this looks. So we've got a nice little border there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and take this this path or this outline stroke that we created, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come up into the transparency. We're going to make a mask. File and place again. In this instance, I'm going to turn it a bit. Cool, that looks good. Let that go. Then again, we got to do this. Click on the path again. Control-C, Control-F. Release. Get rid of that thing. And then we're going to arrange and send to the back. And then notice it went behind the state. I don't want that, so I'm going to hold Control in the right square bracket until I bring it back up. And then I got to change this to the color I was using before. Nice. Now, so what that's doing, it's giving us the solid background, which is this gray, and then giving us the halftone on top. So that's what's helping us out to have that look well. Matter of fact, to make this even look better, I'm going to release this, delete it, release that, delete it. So we want to make sure we got, yeah, we'll delete that. So now see how we got all this gray? I'm going to take all of that, go to my Pathfinder and make that. So now it's all one path. So now I can go up to my transparency, make a mask. Oops, something's still there. There's something behind this? Yeah, so clean that up. Clean that up. Lock that back in where we had it. Okay, good. So now we'll do the same thing. We're going to leave that gray, Control C, Control F. Now this one we're going to make that mask. And then place our layer of our monotone. Nice. That's looking good. All right, so now we have some options. We could call it good with that, or we could add some different little accents here. I'm going to see what this looks like. Grab the ellipse tool. Try to get this circle as same size as our original circle. There we go. Kind of did a little snap there. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this white. Try to get it as same size as possible. Good. So now that I got that size, I'm just going to do something like this. Hold down Shift, put your up key, that'll move it 10 pixels. I'm going to use my Pathfinder. Just keep this little piece here. Arrange. Send it to the back. Now I'm going to bring it forward as many layers as I'd like. Make a duplicate of that. I'm going to hold down Shift and rotate it all the way around. Bring that up to the top. Let it snap itself in. Looks pretty nice. Same thing if you wanted to, again, you can get as creative as you want. I always try every idea that I come up with. Half the time I don't like it, but it's fun to experiment. Test your skills. So I'm going to take this, do the same thing. Arrange, send it to the back. and bring it forward as you need it. That's looking very nice. One thing that I'll do too is I'll go over here and Control C, Control F, make another duplicate. Bring it over to a dark background, see what you got here. So I'm going to go Object, Expand. Okay, I'm going to go over here and make it. And this is just going to allow me to see where anything got messed up. So that curve isn't on there right. Okay, so I'm going to go back up one. That looks good. Awesome. With our fonts and our drop there if we want to see if anything else looks better. Another thing we could also do here is we can come in and see what a transparency looks like on that. So we can make an opacity mask. Place our file. I'm going to make sure I click on the transparency layer, and then I'm going to just go ahead and Control C, Control F. I'm going to get you another layer of it. Control F again, an even brighter layer of it. That looks good. I like that. Cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw an artboard around it. Save that up. I'm going to come back into this one. Let me show you what else we'll do here. We're going to come onto this one. Make sure it's all expanded again. And then this one we're just going to go back and clean up and remove all the masks. Just keep it flat. What's cool about this flat one here is you can also go through and make a few adjustments, like create this into negative space. You know, if your artwork depended on it, but we're going to back it up. Just make sure we got all of our pieces in there. We like that. We're going to keep this one this way so that the text is editable. So we remember our fonts in there. We can make any adjustments that we need. And what I like to do once I've done a logo is I'll go flip it back over here to Photoshop. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to choose my second artboard, the grunge. File save on my smart object. I've got a t-shirt mock-up that I've been using here, so I'll mock it up on this shirt. I don't need this layer. So mock it up the way that it works best. We're going to have to shrink that in just a bit. Background on there, that looks good. I like that shirt. File, export, save for web. I don't need it to be 4,000, I'll make it 2,000. I like to give them a couple different color variations, so we'll give them the white version, the red version. On this, I might change the background up. So maybe like a mint would look like. Yeah, that kind of looks good. And there we are, folks. That's how we create a logo and a logo mock-up for a customer. Thanks for tuning in.